All right, so welcome everyone to our YouTube channel. Dr. Harry Benjamin is the name. We're grateful and excited to have this conversation with us. It's dedicated towards releasing more of our gifts and our talents and our capacities. We have a discussion that allows for us to look at universal principles and how we could use these principles to release more of our gifted nature. Today, we're talking about accessing more of our potential, and we're going to have a conversation around that and help us to understand some of the blockades, some of the hindrances, so that we can release more of our gifts, more of our talents, and more of our capacity to become more than we are at this moment. So welcome from different parts of the world. We're glad that you're here. So let's start with just trying to understand the word potential and what does that mean. Let us try to understand the word potential. If you could just, anybody who wants to jump in and just share what it is that you think about the word potential. You know, how do you see the word potential? What do you see it as? And then we'll talk about it a bit. I will look at some of the blockades to accessing more of our potential and how we can release more and more of it. Anyone wants to jump in? Let me ask you, Mark. Welcome, Selwyn.
Excellent.
Okay, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah. Excellent morning to everyone. Well, my name is Mark Wilson, and I'm from the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. In terms of potential, I would definitely allude to the opinion. It's you as an individual, or it could be a group of people who has the ability to perform certain tasks or to achieve certain goals. And it is something that is really within your reach because of your skill set, because of your training, because of your mindset, your belief. So it puts you in a position where, you know, you have the potential to be a parent, to be a winner, to be a teacher, to be a counselor, to be anything. Yeah.
All right. So you're seeing potential as a possibility, something that can happen. You can become a this, a that. You can become a lawyer, an engineer, a teacher, a mechanic. You have the potential to do these different activities that you just mentioned. There are different roles or different jobs as you use those as a way of describing we have potential to do something. Is that did I
Correct.
capture it?
Correct.
All right, wonderful.
Correct.
Wonderful. Wonderful. What about Keisha? Do you have a perspective on the word potential? If you want to speak, please go ahead, Keisha.
No, I don't hear what I say, sorry.
Okay, I was asking you, as Mark has done, he shared his perspective on what the word potential means. So I'm asking you, you know, what do you see that word as? How do you view the word potential? What do you think the word potential refers to? We're talking about accessing more of our potential. That's what we're discussing today. Okay, do you see it as, what do you see the word as? As Mark has just expressed his perspective. Do you have a perspective on it?
Not right now.
Okay, that's fine. What about you, Selwyn?
Potential is what God has placed inside of us, which is not yet released.
All right, that sounds great. A potential is what has been placed within us, which has not yet been released. So it's potential. It's there as a possibility, as something that we could use, but we haven't yet used it. Am I hearing you correctly?
Yeah, man. Mm-hmm.
All right, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for that. So the question and the topic is, how can we access more of it? You know, how can we access more of that potential, that aspect of ourselves that has something there that we haven't yet used? Let's start with you, Mark. You know, what do you believe we could do to access more potential?
Well, one of the things that I could definitely do is upgrading my skill, upgrading my knowledge, you know, upgrading my commitments. You know, these are some things that I could do to definitely, you know what I mean, step up my potential.
Okay, I got it. So you could do some of those things to step up your potential. Awesome. What about you, Selwyn or Keisha? What about you, Selwyn? What could we do to access more of our potential?
Based on my definition of something that God has placed in us that has not yet been released is to go back to the source of that potential, go back to the source of. So getting closer, getting connected, developing that relationship with God, and then He will inspire the release of your potential.
Okay, so I like that. Very clear in terms of how we can access more. So what are some of the things that one could do? You know, Mark spoke about being more committed as well to one's goals, you know, the things that we're doing. You know, Mark spoke about that. In addition to that, Mark spoke about, just to recap what Mark was saying in terms of doing some active things that will allow for one to release more of one's potential. So there's an active side of be more committed to your goals, you know, deciding, well, I want to develop this particular area or I want to do this better is one. I definitely think that's one aspect that's necessary. But you also spoke about another aspect, which is also very needed, which is to cultivate that connection with our Creator, which is where the potential really comes from and was placed there by. So I think both of those to me go hand in hand, where we have to be doing something actively, kind of putting ourselves under pressure, lifting up some weights to realize that the muscles need the pressure of lifting the weights to grow. And so both, I think the physical, doing the active thing, in addition to accessing the spiritual side in terms of connection with our Creator, I think they go hand in hand. So thank you both of you for sharing that. And Mark, going back to you. So what are, you know, so we, no, let me go to Selwyn. How do you, what are some of the things we could do for that connection, you know, to become more active, for that connection to start to infuse more into that potential so that we can go ahead and do more on the physical level, on the physical plane?
No, I've heard you mention before the seven pillars, so to speak, like meditation, reading, stuff like that. I can't remember that list there now that you had mentioned before. That can.
So you know, I've not just memorized them, I actually practiced them. So number seven is actually fellowship. And you know, who we fellowship with to a large extent determines how we perceive life, and also how that group may seek to connect with life or connect with our Creator. So that's one. The second one is that's number seven. Let me count it backwards. So 7 to number 1. So number 7, and let's count number 6. Number 6 is selfless service. Are you going out into the community to give of yourself? Are you sharing, you know, from the goodness of who you are and the abundance that you've been gifted with? Are you sharing from that? And then number 5 is life visioning. I haven't trained on that yet, but we definitely need to talk about it. It's different from visualization. And then number 4 is having high-minded conversations, which we're gathered here to do. And then number 3 is spiritual study. And number 2 is affirmative prayer. And number 1 is silent meditation. So if you wrote those 7 down, you know, or if somebody could just type them in the chat for me, right, as we go through, so that you could look at those 7 areas and then see, what am I doing to improve upon using those 7 areas to access more of that divine potential? Because as Selwyn had said, the potential is the divine Creator in us that is the potential to do something. Some of us have heard a statement that says, I can do all things through the potential in me to do it. You know, we've defined it as Christ, but that Christ is a potential. And a potential is something that we have to access. And Mark also spoke about some physical things that we need to do if we're going to have more of that potential become real. In other words, if we just sit down all day and say, okay, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a doctor. The potential to be a doctor is in us, but it will not become real if we don't go through going to medical school, getting the education, applying to the school in the first place, getting the grades necessary to be accepted. And then you'll be able to go to the various labs and do all the study and do the work to realize the potential in us to become a doctor. Even though the potential was there from the beginning, and we were someone who may have meditated, you may have prayed, you may have done all of the 7 practices, you still have to go out and do the actual physical part of becoming that potential, becoming real and active. So thank you for that, bringing that up, Selwyn. So Jane, Frank, and Henrietta, we're discussing accessing more of your potential. We already heard from Mark and Selwyn on what they believe potential is. And both of them spoke quite well about the idea of potential being something that we have to do some physical things, but also have to do some spiritual things in order to be able to realize more of that potential. I know we're needing to talk about how can we access more of it. And, you know, Selwyn brought up 7 ways in which we can connect more with our creator, and by so doing, access more of the potential. And then in addition to that, we're looking at what other things does anyone want to contribute that you believe can help us to access more of our potential. Because what we need is more of the potential to be able to do more of what we're seeking to accomplish, whatever that may be, whatever goals that may be in our personal lives. We're trying to have a better quality life experience, and we need more potential for that to be realized. So Jane, welcome. All right. And I hope your body's feeling fit and strong today. So how are you doing? Do you have a perspective on the word potential? Do you have what would you like to say about accessing more potential? I know Henrietta doesn't like to speak much, but Henrietta could type in the chat if you want to put some ideas on what we can do to access more potential. You can go ahead. You want to go ahead and put it in the chat? What can we do to access more potential? Okay, I'm waiting on you. All right, Jane, if you can unmute and share, that would be awesome. What can we do to access more potential? So potential is that faculty that we have in us. Somebody who is a note taker, I think Henrietta, you have always been my note taker. Type in the chat for me the way I see the word potential, all right? And I think this acronym that I put in the book, you're welcome, Jane, still at work. Okay, I understand. I know you do that at this hour. But Henrietta, if you could type the word P, potential, type the word potential for me, Potential, right? Potential. And I see the word as an acronym. And the letter P stands for power. So the letter P stands for power, Power. Thank you, Henrietta, potential. So the letter P stands for power. So type the word power. So the letter P is the power that we have, right? The power that we have within us. The O stands for over, O-V-E-R. So we have a power over, okay? And then what it is that interferes with our potential as we put those first 2 letters, P-O, the next letter stands for power over the, T-H-E, power over the, T-H-E is the, T-H-E. So you could have that in your notes, power over the, right? And then the other word is excuses. The E stands for excuses. So power over the excuses, E-X, excuses, C-U-S-E-S. Now, N stands for now. So poten, P-O-T-E-N, all right? Now, N-O-W. And then that, T-H-E. Okay, so the word now for the, thank you. And then that, T-H-A-T, right? That. And then I stands for inhibit. Letter I stands for inhibit. Inhibit, like to block, inhibit. Inhibit, right? A-I-N-H-I-B-I-T. Thank you. A stands for abundant. Abundant. A stands for abundant. And then L stands for lifestyles. And then L stands for lifestyles. Thank you very much, Henrietta. So what we have, you and I, we have the ability literally in us. We have a power working in us that allows for us to overcome the excuses. Because here's what happens. Have you ever heard somebody say, you know what, you know that you could do something, but we say, but, okay, can you become very successful? Can you do this? Can you become a that? But then we come up with the word but. And what we do is that we use the word but as a way to inhibit and block ourselves. The mind, human mind, the way it functions is that it's always seeking to sort of reduce our potential to do something. It's always trying to keep us safe. It's always trying to protect us. So what ends up happening is that you set out on a goal, as Mark was saying, being more committed to your commitments. So you have a goal to achieve something, and a number of us within our business community, we're working hard diligently at achieving our goals. We're working very diligently at achieving our goals, and we are definitely on track for that to happen, for our various goals to happen. And while that is happening, there are things that interfere with us along the way. Whatever that may be, you're trying to get a new home, and you say, well, I would love to get a new home, but the government system is not working well, the economy is not looking well, and that holds back the potential in us to go and do what we can do to realize this goal of having a new home, as an example. And a lot of us, what we do is that we resolve to, oh, well, this is a challenge, that is an area, and the excuses block our abundant living. We can live an abundant lifestyle. We can live a lifestyle that we desire. And when I look at the years of coming up, I've used excuses in different ways that have held me back. For example, right now I'm doing pretty well starting to trade. And Mark and I know I've been able to have some conversations about trading, and I wasn't able to do that before. And what I realized I was doing, I was saying, man, I don't have the time, I'm busy, I have this going on, I have that, I have to be building this, I have to do that. And those are just excuses that I was using to not do something that could earn us a lot of money to be able to go into. One of the goals I have is to go back into Nigeria and to put in some homes that will allow for us to take care of some people who are homeless right now. So, and give them an opportunity to have clothes, food, and shelter, and education and spiritual study to bring them back to their true self so that they can emerge and unfold and reveal their glorious nature. That's one of my visions and projects that I know I have to do. Now, but obviously, what does it require to do that? Money. So for us to be able to do that, I have to, and I'm not trying to gather money from people to do that. I'm going to generate that money myself. I'm going to do it as a project out of the abundance of my own being. So the power over the excuses that inhibit abundant lifestyles. So that excuse that I was making up about not being able to learn the skill that some people are using to earn, Mark, if you can unmute with me for a minute, right? That's Jane with excuses, not be able to focus. So we'll come up with all of these excuses that limit us. We have the potential to trade. For example, I'm just using this as an example because not everybody has a desire to do that. But let's look at that, Mark, because we have been having a conversation about trading now that we could have been having months ago. And I was not open to that because I believed, man, this is not, I don't have the time. I have to do this first. I have to do that first. I have to get this right first before having that level of conversation. And now I'm having that conversation because I've been getting my excuses out of my way. I say, no, you know what? I'm going to stop making those excuses up. I'm going to sit down and get this videos, go through these videos, watch this information, learn what I'm supposed to learn, and get out of the rut of not doing what I can do. So what we have to do is to as Mark has said, and come back off mute, Mark, if you can, right? If you're able to, right? As Mark, what do you mean when you say more committed to your commitments? What it is that you mean by that? Because there's a lot in that statement that you made, being more focused on your commitments. Can you unmute?
Oh, yes, I can. So what I would mean by that, yes, I might be committed to buy a farm, etc. But some of the things that I really need to do is like, definitely, set that goal properly, writing down what the targets are, what is required to get there. And, even have it written on a little card that I can look on a couple times of the day, morning, midday, noon, night, to remind me of what my goals are. So when the going get tough, I have a reminder there that, hey, you need to get going, you know, don't be sad. Don't get weary. So in terms of that, that is one of the things definitely that I need to work on that would help keep me focused, because is the focusing is what would get you there, with really, you know, getting your full potential, and you stick to it, not giving up, knowing, not believing, but in knowing that, you know, I mean, this is what you're going to do and this is what's going to happen.
All right, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right, so I want to give us, Mark brought up something that's really important, right? In my hand, it's called an affirmation card or a goal card, right? Very, very important that he just spoke about. The excuses that pop up in our head come from things that we heard, especially when we were children. And we heard things from our neighbors and our friends. We heard these things as the reasons why we can't do the things that we would like to do, right? These things came up. Now, when those things coming up, what happens is that when you're trying to do something, your mind is going to remind you of the limitations that we inherited. You know, for example, you know, we've heard people say, oh, nobody can ever do this. Nobody can ever do that. And a lot of these statements that we heard when we were young, we didn't question them. We just heard, okay, nobody can do this, nobody can do that. And what it did was that it placed in us beliefs that inhibit us, that block us, that limit us. Now, one of the ways in which to overcome this is that we have to recondition our mind with a set of beliefs that allow us to release more of our gifts and our potential. And one of them is to have goals. We have to have a set of written goals, clearly written down. And what we should do is to repeat them to ourselves over and over again. And by this coming week, right, because I wrote down a goal on this goal card, right? I literally wrote it down this past about 2 weeks. I don't think it's 2 weeks yet. And one of the goals is already materialized this week. I'll share it with you. All right, I'm telling you that it's on the card, and I'm going to show you the goal manifested by the end of this month, right? So these goals, ladies and gentlemen, if you truly take the time and energy to write them down, and I've known this for some time, and I started and stopped, and excuses pop up to seek to prevent us from doing what we should do. And right now, man, I'm so resolute of realizing these goals, and I'm starting to see the speed at which we're going to be able to realize them. You know, and one of the things that you should do, and I encourage you to do this, is to make sure you have these cards. Make sure you have these goal cards. And then what we do to be able to realize more of our potential is to have goals written down and repeat them to ourselves. Now, what happens is this: when you condition those goals into your subconscious mind starts to work in concert with you to be able to help you to achieve those goals. You know, it's in a way of you have not because you goal not. You have not because you ask not. You have not because you're not out in life going after your goals and dreams. We are really designed to go out and live. G-O-A-L. Henrietta, type it for me. Go out and live. Goal. So those people who do not have a goal, they're like a ship on the ocean without a sail, without a rudder. The water is just pushing it to the left, to the right. Eventually it lands on rocks and it's shipwrecked. So what happens is that we have to have clearly defined goals. We cannot just wander through life, because if we do that, somebody else is going to grab a hold of us, and we're going to end up working for those individuals to be able to realize their goals and their dreams. So we have to go out and live. And how we do that is to have these goal cards, to have these affirmations written down. So you heard me say the 7 steps. Number 1 is meditation. Number 2 is affirmatively speaking. Affirmations, writing these down, speaking them to yourself over and over again, so that your subconscious mind, it becomes programmed and imputed with this information, so that you can now go out and live the life that you desire to live and have the dreams and goals that you desire to have accomplished, manifested in your life. So it's very, very important to do this. Very, very essential. So that's one of the areas. In addition to that, what type of study are we doing? You know, are we going into books? What type of books do you have in your library right now? You know, yes, the Quran is great, the Bible is great, you know, the Torah is great, you know, the Upanishads. There are many great spiritual books out there that are wonderful. But beyond that, what other books are you studying? Are you studying books about leadership? Are you studying books about the principles of life? Are you studying books about how life really works? There's great books by people like Ernest Holmes, this thing called life. A lot of great material is out there that you and I can tap into that will help us to start to access more of our potential. And then we also have to be having these conversations. As you know, I'm committed to this. Last week, Sunday, I took the day because I was traveling to that convention that we had in Charlotte, and the timing didn't work to have a Sunday morning conversation. But, I'm committed to the conversation. We have been on here every Sunday, except that one Sunday last week. So that is, ladies and gentlemen, a commitment to doing what it is that we need to do as one of the practices, because I know how important it is to have these high-minded conversations. We need to have individuals who are aligned with that so that we can be reminded about this level of living and how it is that we need to go about thinking, how is it that we need to go about speaking, how we need to go about doing the things that are going to allow for us to start to have that deeper sense of awareness of the presence of God as our life. And that is a walk that we are going through. I was listening to my teacher this morning, and he spoke about that we're on a journey. Each of us here, we're on a journey. We're literally on a journey from ourselves to ourselves. I know that might sound counterintuitive, but we're on a journey from ourselves to ourselves. We're literally going through a number of experiences that are helping us to realize more and more of our true nature. That's what we're doing. This planet is really a 70, 90, 120 year for most who come here to experience things in a slow down way so that we can truly start to get a reflection back to ourselves as to where we are blocking ourselves. Because the journey from you to you, it begins when we enter the womb. You're the divine you when you enter the womb. And as you enter the womb of your biological mother, and we exit that womb, then we start to get conditioned with the ways the world exists, the way the world is. We start to pick up the way people think. We start to pick up the people's perspectives, people's points of view. We start to inherit beliefs, whether they're beliefs that are going to help us or beliefs that are going to hinder us, we inherit them. And as we make our way through life, we come into our teenage years, then we evolve from a teenager into an adult. Maybe we get hooked up with a person for a relationship, what we call a marriage. And then we have another season in our lives again. And then we have business that we may be doing, our career that we're working on. And we're doing all of these different experiences in the process of hopefully becoming aware of the true nature of ourselves. A lot of us go through life and not identify how important it is to become aware of our true nature. And we end up living a life that is not fulfilled because we end up being conditioned by the world to look for joy based on acquisition of things, to look for peace of mind based on location or based on the absence of conflict in our lives. Not realizing that joy and peace, love, abundance, all of what we need is in us as a divine free gift. Peace and joy are free gifts that we have, but we end up looking for them on the outside because we have connected our peace and joy to our job, to our relationship, to the physical body being in good health or what we call lower health, right? But when we start to become aware that our potential is in us, this great power over the excuses that inhibit abundant lifestyles, we start to brush the excuses out of our way and we start to see that we're okay. Once we see that we're okay from within, then you are much more empowered to go into the world and be of more value. Because once you're living from inside, once you're living from your joy, your peace, once you're living from the love that's in you, and you're not going out into the world to try to get anything, you're going out into the world now to release your inner splendor. You're going out into the world to release your joy, to release your love, to release the peace, to release the abundance that's inherent and loaded and coded within you. So when you go out into the world from that perspective, you're bringing God into the world. You're bringing the qualities of your creator. The divine potential in us is now infusing itself into the call you may make. You know, when I'm maturing to that place where when I make a call to introduce somebody to what I'm doing, I'm coming from a place of giving something that I know is of value to them. And whether they receive it or not, that's okay by me. If I send a message out, I'm doing it from the abundance of my being, not from a state of, man, I need that person to come and join me. I need that person to do this. I need that person to buy my equipment. I need them to buy a car from me. I need that patient to come and see me this week so that I can actually make some money to pay my bills. So when we are living from that standpoint, we're living from a physical level. We're living only based on the law of cause and effect, where you have to do something to get something. You have to be doing something to receive something, as opposed to you're living from first cause, where you're here to release what it is that you came here with. So the potential in us, power over the excuses that inhibit abundant lifestyles. We release it by having goals. What is it that we're getting up every day to go and achieve? What is it that we're getting up every day to go and build? What is it that we're creating? What is it that we're working on? We have to have them. What are you working on spiritually? What are you working on with your body? What are you working on in your relationships? What are you working on in your family life? What are you working on in your various businesses or business? What are you working on in the community? I'm clear about those things. In the community, I mentioned one of the things that I want to do is to put in homes in Nigeria that will host 10 people at a time, so that they can be clothed, fed, and sheltered, and educated, and spiritually developed, so that they can release their gifts and their talents and not be homeless. Because once somebody comes in touch with the divine in them, it changes everything in their lives. But they can't hear the divine if they're hungry, if their clothing is not all right, if they're in a place where things are just in total disarray. So they're extremely difficult to become aware of the divine in us in those circumstances. Right? I heard this proverb from Africa that said, before you put something into a man, you have to take the hunger out of him. So with that perspective, then once we are clear, what are you getting up to do? So because I have these goals, and I know that for me to take care of a group of 10 people, I can't just be having some small amount of money in my hands. I have to have a lot. For me to be able to want to do some projects where we're going to clean up some of what I've seen in Nigeria, where the environment needs some work to be able to clean up the plastic bottles. I have this recycle program in my mind that I want to have established. That's going to require some capital to get it going. So whichever way you look at it, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to need money. Then, of course, I have my personal things, right, that I want to do. One of the things I want to do is that I want to buy a house on the water in Florida, where we can have a boat dock at the back, right? I like that type of lifestyle, and I'm not going to deny myself it. So I'm going to buy a house like that. I'm going to buy a boat at the back. I'm going to have a Ferrari. I'm going to have a Bentley in the driveway. So those are things that I'm going to do on a personal level. So for me to achieve those things, I have to have these goals written down. I have to be working steadily every day towards achieving them. And I can't just have them as a wish. I can't just have them as a hope. I have to have them and do the things necessary for them to become a real, tangible reality. I want my children to live beautifully. I want my wife to be beautifully taken care of. I want, the businesses that I'm doing and the various businesses I'm doing to bring income to our family in multiple ways, that I'm no longer working for any money. I don't get up any day at all to work for any money. Money is coming to me based on the things that I've developed and put in place. So money flows to me, as opposed to me getting up from my home and going out of my home to go to somewhere to look, to do something, to be receiving money in a way, which is fine. Nothing is wrong with that as a stage, but we can mature out of that. So that is an understanding. The potential is in all of us to achieve whatever we have set, whatever you may have designed that you're gonna now have as goals and dreams and aspirations. We have to have a structure to it. We have to have some order to it. We have to have a clearly defined outlook as to what it is that you're going to use the potential in you to do. If you have the potential to be a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, an entrepreneur, a network marketer, a forex trader, a dad, a wife, a child, a husband, whatever it is, we have the potential to do all of these things. But what it is that we're going to use it to do, each and every one of us have to really get clear. What are you going to use the potential to do? And goal cards are powerful. These are very, very powerful ways to infuse into your subconscious mind what it is that you want your creator to help you to bring to pass. Without the goals, right, you're like a ship on the ocean or boat, right, without a sail. So the wind is just pushing it there, the waves are pushing it there. There's no rudder that's set to be able to move it in a particular direction and take it to where you want. Each of us have to be like that boat. We have to have a sail That's it. So the winds of life can blow us in the direction that we want to go in. We have to have a rudder. What's the rudder? Where are you going? What are your goals? What are your dreams? What are your aspirations? They have to be clearly written down. Repeat them to yourself over and over again until they become something that's so active in you. You know, I will tell you that since I have, you know, started reading Think and Grow Rich the other day and remembered how important it is, you know, tomorrow we go to another chapter, how important it is to go through these steps, these principles. And I realized I was breaking some of these principles, especially this one, right? This one, repeating these goals over and over again. You know, I work hard. I'm a very diligent individual. I'm consistent. But then we have to program into our subconscious mind what's going on. Because in life, somebody write this down for me as we open up and we seek to wrap this up, right? In life, you get what you do not get what you want. In life, we do not get what we want. We get what we picture. We have to remember that. It's the Houghton-Bugs made that statement famous. In life, we do not get what we want. If you Henrietta could type it for us. In life, we do not get what we want. We get what we picture. And, you know, since I've been repeating my affirmations, I've been seeing myself, you know, in my mind, you know, almost throughout the day, you know, seeing images of myself having fun with my family in this new home that we're going to have on the water down in Fort Lauderdale. I see the boat at the back, the pool, you know, hanging out, having friends come over for, you know, different family events. These are things that you have to visualize yourself doing even before, way before the actual manifestation of that event, right? So we're in the process right now of making that a reality. We're in the process right now of making that dream real and tangible. And it's something that, yes, you know, I had the whole, like, yes, you know, we're going to get a home, going to get a that, going to that. But after realizing how important it is to reminding myself, because I'd known this for years, but I did it for periods, backed away from doing it because of excuses that came up from the previous programming that I had that was necessary. And here's the thing about, all of us have what's called a gestation period. All of us have a gestation period. You know, our goals and our dreams go through a period of gestation. There are certain things that we need to work out. There's certain qualities that we need to develop. You know, there are certain things that need to be whittled away, or, you know, the threshing wheel of God's life has to brush certain things out of your way so that you can release your gifts and your talents in a way that the Creator has designed for it to happen. And that gestation period is this period. And sometimes you may think it should be shorter than what it is, or it should be, you know, but it is what it is. There's nothing that we really can do about those gestation periods. You know, 9 months for a baby to be born. You know, elephant, I think it's 36 months for that baby to be born from an elephant. So everything has its gestation period. And so it is with any goal, any dream, any aspiration that you have. And now I'm seeing our goals and dreams now starting to materialize fast because of what's been put into our hands, the ability to now trade, you know, being able to build a business at the same time in that space. That has given me leverage, which I didn't have before. And that has given us an opportunity to speed up the accomplishments of our goals and our dreams as a result of that. So guys, accessing more of our potential. How are we going to do that? How we access more of our potential? Those 7 principles, yes, they are important. In addition to, as Mark said, you have to be actively engaged in doing the thing aligned with the goals and the dreams that we have set. We have to be doing that. So every day you have to be consistently doing that. So any comments about that? Mark, jump in. All right, I rambled on for a bit there. I think I downloaded a lot of information. I shared a lot of information about Mark, and now Selwyn, and then anyone else. But Mark, you want to jump in? Can you unmute? All right, let me go over to Selwyn while Mark figures out his unmute button. Any comments to add to that, Selwyn, about accessing more of our potential?
No, I enjoyed your rambling, so to speak, as you said. It was enlightening. And I guess I need to do a little more of visualizing and in order to release that potential. So it was good listening and hearing your story.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Jane, thank you, Mr. Selwyn Davis, my brother and friend, my brother from another mother. I just feel like God is unfolding and revealing something through both of us that's going to be quite interesting. I think a season for that is close. I don't know how, but we'll see. All right, Jane. Jane, can you unmute if you can? Any comments about that? Oh no, you're at work. Okay, all right, I got it. All right, Henrietta, Keisha. Okay, Mark, you're ready to go. Go, Mark.
Awesome. Well, one of the things for me that I need to do, even though I have really huge dreams and goals, I still think I need to make them even bigger. Because the bigger I make them, is the faster they start to become a reality. So, you know, nothing is really out of reach. It's just my mind. It's just my mind. All human beings I know have the same 24 hours. So, you know, if one person could get it done, I definitely could get it done too. So for me, I just got to make my dreams bigger. As one of my goals, just make them bigger.
Wonderful. Make your dreams bigger and have some mile markers, right? We'll dive into that a little bit more, because when you have a very big dream, it's important to break it down in steps. So, you know, okay, month 1, by the end of this month of November, what are you achieving? The 3 months, what are you achieving? By the end of 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. It's very important to have our goals where we have short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals that are achievable and that are realistic, so that you can be held accountable. Because sometimes when we put our very big goals out there and very big dreams out there, they're so far out there that we don't really hold ourselves accountable, and there's no way to be held accountable. And also it's good to have an accountability partner, somebody that you're in connection with, that you share your goals with, so that you and that person can have a discussion about them. You know, as I'm actually having an accountability session, Bridget Buckner and I have agreed to actually, you know, share her goals with me. I share mine with her, and we're going to work together to hold each other accountable. So I can say, hey, Bridget, what's going on? I thought you said we were going to do this or do that. She could say, hey, Harry, what's going on? Are you still going after that home on the water in Fort Lauderdale, Florida? Right? Because I'm telling you, I'm not playing around, guys. I mean, let me bring it up. Let me share my screen. Because you have to see this. You have to have a picture of what it is that you want to achieve. Because I'm committed to getting this done, and some of you guys are going to see that happen. So yesterday, you know, I put it on my phone. Let me just go ahead and find the picture of it. But I'm not playing around, man. I'm not playing around. Where did I put it? Okay, it's on my WhatsApp. Hopefully you could see it. If I delete this message out. Okay, let's turn my phone this way. You see the water, right? No. Oops. On my other phone. You see the Ferrari there in the background? Let me see if I see it here, right? Okay, all right. Let me bring it up on my, where did I? Okay, yeah, I know where to find it. Let me go and find it. Because I'm not playing around, guys. You get what you picture, right? You get what you picture, right? You are going to get what you picture. You have to see this over and over again. You have to visualize yourself living in it, walking around in it. You know, I was sharing this is our family chat group. So this is you know, I've lived in something similar to this before, but without a boat at the back. So one of the excuses that come up in my head with is that, okay, because I lived in it already, I don't need to visualize the house. That's one of the excuses that I've used to block myself from actually visualizing it. And it's so important to visualize this, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I've gotten so clear on this that if you do not visualize it, it's almost not going to come to pass. So you have to visualize it. You have to see yourself in the I'm walking around in the kitchen, I'm walking around in the living room, I'm out by the dock, I'm out by the boat, I'm taking the boat up the canal or whatever that is, the waterway, to restaurants with my family. You know, I've seen my son jumping over the back of the sofa, you know, having fun, you know, our daughters having fun, you know, my daughter driving the Ferrari out to go out with her friends. I'm seeing these things happen. You have to see yourself there. And for some people, oh, how could you see yourself there? You don't have the money yet. That's how it works. You have to see yourself there before you get there. And that's how you get there. You have to have your images. You have to be practicing living in it before it'll come to pass. And for those of you who I'm sharing this with today, you're going to remember today. You're going to remember because I'm going to be posting videos of my house opening and the celebration. I'm going to be inviting friends and family from different parts of the world to come and be a part of this great celebration. Because, you know, some of you know, may have seen, we lived in a house similar to this before. We built a house similar to this before in Florida, and we lost the house because of the real estate mortgage crisis. And then we had to go through this valley of gestation of getting rid of certain aspects that were blocking us from being able to sustain and maintain that lifestyle. And now I've come out of that gestation period, and now I'm in a manifestation season. And that's why I can, with so much energy and enthusiasm, visualize this. So what are you visualizing? Are you dreaming about it in that way? Are you living in whatever it is that you're going to do? You know, I'm seeing myself down there in Nigeria, in the streets, helping people, getting them into the homes, you know, running the homes, doing the spiritual teachings, helping to employ teachers and so forth that are going to educate them. I'm seeing myself doing that. You know, I'm seeing myself as well talking on stages around the world, you know, educating people and inspiring people to go ahead and take action in their own lives to achieve their own dreams and their own goals. Guys, you have to do that. If you're not doing that, chances are you won't see the materialization of these goals and these dreams. Another thing that some people do is that if you want to drive a Mercedes-Benz, go to the Mercedes-Benz dealer, sit in the car, you know, close your eyes, put your hands on the steering wheel, smell the leather, feel it. You have to see yourself there before you get there. That's how it works. There's no really way around that. And if you do not master visualization, you will limit yourself. You're going to limit our creator using you because you have to get out of that space of, you know, not being able to achieve your dreams and goals. All right, so that our creator can use us to do some bigger things. So of course, when we finish this one, you know, not for the purpose of acquisition, because I will say to you that I don't need the home to be happy. I don't need the home to be at peace. I don't need that to happen. But that's my preference. That's one of my desires. I love living this way. It is really fun. It is exciting to be able to go out and have dinner at very nice restaurants where people serve you and you can have a 2 or 3 or 4 course meal and the service is just off the charts. You know, you and your loved ones sit down and have a great time. These are things that we can do, but to do them, what do we need to do them, guys? What do we need to do them? Right? Money. So we have to get our money right to be able to do these things and not just talk about them. Right? We have to get our money right. And for those of us who are understanding that how important it's not vanity, it's not, oh, you're trying to do this, trying to do that. You have to do those things so that when you have money out of the way and it's no longer an issue, then your creator can use you to do something much more effective in the world because you're now not siphoning off your energy going to work, because it takes a lot of divine energy to go to work for money. So we can get money out of the way so that money flows to us. We're no longer getting up, going out for working for money. We're generating money within our homes using, you know, a modern way. Right now, we're using our technology to do it. And, you know, several people are way ahead of us, you know, earning thousands of dollars in minutes and seconds on their phones. Several people that are in our community are already doing it. Some people $1 million in a day on their phone, right? So more of us are going to learn how to do that. And then once we're starting to do that, ladies and gentlemen, the dreams and the goals that we're doing, we'll stay at home on our sofa or outside by the back, by the water. We're looking at the boat, clicking on some buttons, making some money, right? And that's what I'm seeing. And hopefully you're seeing what you want to see for you. I'm just sharing with you what I'm in the process of doing, and you can choose to do whatever yours might be. All right, so thank you for sharing that, Sally, and thank you, Mark. Anyone else wants to share before we bless each other and jump off of here? Anyone else wants to share? Because, man, I'm in my manifestation season. Right? Anybody else wants to share? Let me hear. Jane, are you able to speak now? You're still at work. Henrietta, Lara, God's Paul, my friend over there in Nigeria. Welcome, sir. Glad to have you on the call today. I know you're going to become one of those $100,000 earners, because one of my goals on my sheet that I repeat every morning, right, is that by the end of next year, I'm going to have 100 people that have earned over $100,000 trading income in our organization, at least 100. Right, so we're going to have that happen, $100,000 in trading income. That can help some people to do something in their lives. So God's power, you need to be one of them. All right, no playing around. All right, anyone else before we bless each other? All right, anyone else? Thank you for showing up, Selwyn. Greatly appreciate you being here, sir, and love you, my brother. Thank you, Keisha, for showing up as well, and Lara, Henrietta, Jane, your people, and God's power. Mark, anyone else? No comments. All right, so with that said, the way we end, ladies and gentlemen, is that I bless you and your life is magnificent is the statement we use to remind ourselves of our own magnificence, but also to share that from your energy so that you are raising the vibration of the world, all right, by saying I bless you and your life is magnificent. So let's go ahead and find at least 5 names on the list, minimum, and say their names. Hey, Mark, I bless you and your life is magnificent. Please unmute.
Jane, I bless you and your life is magnificent.
So Mark,
Keisha, I bless you and your life is magnificent. Lara, I bless you and your life is magnificent.
Jane,
Harry, I bless you and your life is magnificent.
Henrietta, I bless you and your life is magnificent. Laura,
Selwyn, I bless you and your life is magnificent.
Power, I bless you and your life is
Henrietta, I bless you and your life is magnificent.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much, everybody. Really appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Have a wonderful, beautiful rest of your day. I will be connecting soon. All right. Bye-bye.